friends, today on the beastiary we will be going over the glyphid family, starting with the glyphid swarmer. Glyphid swarmers show up in groups, hence their name swarmers, and usually a good pickaxe hit gets them to go down. However, if you see one, prepare for more. They usually travel in groups. Next up is the glyphid grunt. As you can see, this dark brown stuff is a bit of armor on said glyphids, meaning that those will take a bit, not a lot, but a bit of damage to break. Their weak point is that face or mouth. Doesn't mainly have eyes. All glyphids mainly have bites and slashes, unless we say something else. Next up is the glyphid guard, resistant to fire, ice, explosions, and stuns. Its front legs here have a bit more armor on them, so every time it takes hits, it's going to try and cover its head with its arms. These armored arms can be destroyed, while the armor portions can. The glyphid slasher is the opposite of the grunt, taking away defense for damage. He is weak to explosives. When this thing slashes at you, it will do more damage and slow you down. It is one of the priority targets within a swarm. Glyphid Ebonite Grunt, and we'll be pairing it up with the Ebonite Glyphid Praetorian, because these guys kind of show up in the same instances and act the same. They are weak to pickaxes and immune to everything. The only way to deal damage to them is melee. They can show up in the machine event or in Ebonite Outbreak. So make sure you have a power attack ready. The Glyphid Warden. The Glyphid Warden does not attack you, but will buff his teammates, making each of his teammates take reduced damage. You can see which ones are targeted by a purple string that goes from this to the Glyphid. Also, there will be like a little shield, little defense thing like that symbol. The Glyphid Warden, when it is by itself, it will do a small roar, bringing reinforcements to attack with it. This is a high priority target, and it moves within the group to keep buffs on teammates. The Stingtail, weak to explosives and electricity, resistant to fire and stuns. The Glyphid Stingtail does not have a bite attack, and does not have a slash attack. It has two different attacks now. But we'll get over that first. We'll get to that later. This bluish, blackish pack of armor is kind of heavy, so it will take a bit of armor to break it. Underneath this headpiece here is a blue glowing thing. That has a weak point. Its attacks is it's trying to stab you with its tusks or grab you with its tail. It will let out a squeak and it will send out its tail, which you can dodge or get grabbed and pulled towards it, where it will try to skewer you. The Glyphid Stalker. He is weak to melee, resistant to electricity. This creature is near invisible, as you can see by the him going in and out. Clicking sound. And dealing any damage will make it come out of invisibility. Dealing enough will make it reposition itself somewhere else. Pinging it will also, of course, decloak it. Its weak point is this green glow here at the front. And if it does hit you, it will make you lose your shields. So if one shows up, watch around and try and look for something that looks kind of like this. Praetorians, kind of a beefier enemy. This dark green here that's all around him, that is armor. His weak point is his butt. And he does have the slash and bite, but he also now has these Praetorians have an acid spray and a death cloud. So when they die, do be careful because there will be a cloud of death. They are resistant to fear, stun, and piercing. And of course, the death cloud of a Praetorian can be lit on fire. The Frost Praetorian can only show up in glacial strata. They are weak to fire, they are resistant to ice, fear, stun, and piercing. They have a frost spray. This frost spray will act kind of like the Praetorians, but it will also build up your ice meter. Same with the death cloud, it will also fill up your ice meter. These clouds of ice cannot be flammable. Radioactive Praetorian is only, of course, found within radioactive exclusion zone. It is resistant to radiation, fear, stun, and piercing. This one, instead of having a spray where it shoots only from its mouth, it will have a area of radiation that it does. When it dies, it will also create an area of radiation as well. Like the other Praetorians as well, weakness is his butt. Next up is the Oppressor. Weakness is melee, resistant to fire, ice, explosives, electricity, stun, corrosion, and pierce. It has a bite and a slash. It has a super stomp that when it stomps, it will knock people back. Ragequake will sit there and attack kind of far in front of it. And a death cloud. While doing the sonic stomp and quake rage, it cannot move. And its only weak point, or only place to be hurt, is here. Unless, of course, you're using explosives, breach cutter, and stuff like that. Of course, like Praetorian, his death cloud is also flammable. Next up, we get to the bosses of the Glyphid family. First up, the Glyphid Dreadnought. Found elimination missions, or the very rare chance, I think it's a rare chance, that mission control will say a dreadnought is coming towards you. Slash, bite, it has a stomp that will slam an area around itself. It has it can shoot projectiles. There's it creates a pack of swarmers. It also has dig. The dreadnought, this one in particular, has a casing around its butt. It is not shown here, but you will need to destroy that protective shield to be able to do damage to it in the butt. Now, when you are damaging it, after a while, it will rebuild a shield around its weak point. Spawn conditions as the original Dreadnought. The Dreadnought Hive Guard is more reinforced than the others. Being able to send out fire mortars, a rock burst where it builds like floating rocks and they get sent out and explode. The entire body is built with unbreakable armor like the Oppressor. However, it will start by spawning in its reinforcements, the Sentinels. The Sentinels will then, when they die, 3 flaps here, here, and here will open up. Taking out those 3 flaps will open up this back part, being able to damage it. Rinse and repeat, and you will have killed this Glyphid. Finally, we have the twins. The Obelisk, which is the ranged one, and the Lacerator. The Obelisk can shoot timed explosives into an area or shoot a wave of projectiles. The Lacerator has rock waves where it will send out 3 waves, one to the left, one to the right, and one down the middle. a flame breath and a slime. They both can burrow when they get low on health, and it is recommended to take both of these out at the same time, because if one gets less HP than the other, they will both burrow, re-emerge, become unkillable, and whichever one has more health will give some of its health to the one that needs it. So if you damage them equally, you'll be able to kill them. Also, if you kill one, the other one will get angry. These things have barely any armor. They are as armored as a regular glyphid. Next up, we got the acid spitter, as armored as a regular glyphid. This red is its armor. The weak point is its head. This glyphid will roam on ceilings and walls and get into a good position to start shooting you with projectiles. When it does, it will hit you and do a tiny bit of damage over time. The web spitter does exactly what the acid spitter does, except its projectile is different. When it shoots you, your screen will become a bit covered in webs, and you will move slower, making it easier for other glyphids to get you. The glyphid septic spreader is another shooting variant. However, this guy likes to stay on the ground because he shoots a lobbed projectile, kind of like a mortar. These projectiles, when they land, create puddles of toxic goo. Do not stand in them. This bit of green up here is armor, and this back part is a weak point, same with the set. When this creature dies, it will explode into a pile of goo. Also, you are able to shoot down its projectiles. The Menace, another shooting glyphid, but this one acts differently. It will never move, it will burrow and re-emerge in new places. It shoots kind of fast, so be careful. And its weak points are these side sacks here, and this top layer up here is some armor that can be broken. It does make a distinct noise to notify you when it's near. The glyphid exploder. It has weakness to cold. Destroying its head will not make it explode. If it is frozen and then killed, it will not detonate. These creatures are quiet. They make no noise until they're about to explode. Shooting them will make doing any damage to them that will knock their HP down to 0 without shooting their head will make them explode, which can be used to blow up other glyphids. They also leave a small crater when they explode. The radioactive exploder is resistant to radiation. Destroying its head will not make it explode. However, this one will create a ring of radiation when it explodes, not destroying any terrain. The bulk detonator is resistant to explosives. Its weak points are these glowing pustule-like things on its back. It has one attack where it will damage everyone around it, doing fire damage as well. And like glyphids, it will, like the regular exploders, it will blow up when it reaches 0 HP. There is ashes and spark to show you the area if you are within its hellfire attack. If it is in a frozen state when it dies, the blast radius will be reduced. When it does explode, there will be small mini explosions that fly off of the bulk detonator, so be careful. The Crassus detonator, one you'd love to see. Resistant explosives. This thing is covered in gold. Weak points are the same. Shows where the explosion area is. Has the same stuff mainly of a regular bulk detonator. It is a bit more tanky. However, when this one dies, anywhere the main explosion has happened will be covered in gold. So, if you get them into a tight area, you'll be getting a big amount of gold. Finally, for the glyphid family, we have the Brood Nexus, which is this big thing. There are swarmers, these green ones, and if you do see green ones, there is most likely a pack of, or a brood nexus nearby. The weak point are these eye-like spots. It does not fight back. When it does die, it does release a pack of swarmers. However, if it is frozen and then destroyed, it will not release any of these swarmers when it dies. So that is it for the beastiary on the glyphid family. Hope you enjoyed.